UFC Perth, Della Maddalena versus PRATES just happened, and I'm gonna go through the entire card, recap every fight and my predictions, and just give my thoughts on what happened in each fight, including the main event. And yeah, this card was pretty good. Since this one is an earlier one, I'm able to do pretty much an immediate reaction video. But this card was pretty good. I wasn't fully conscious for the first couple fights because it was 4 a.m. for me, but I got up, I watched them, and we started the night off with Dom Marfan versus Cody Steele. Now, this fight I tuned in at like 2 minutes into the fight, um, and saw a bunch of the scrambles. It looked pretty fun. Um, and what I did see is what I kind of expected was that the grappling and wrestling from Cody Steele would work good in Dom Marfan's or good in his favor. And Cody Steele eventually got to the point where he got a knee bar and twisted it around enough and submitted Dom Marfan in the first round. It's been a while since we've gotten some sort of leg lock or knee bar or toe hold or heel hook. In the UFC, I think the last time was the Walter Walker one. So cool to see Cody Steele get one and started off the night pretty good. And yeah, got that one right and very good by Cody Steele to get that submission. Then we move up to Jonathan Mikallef versus Themba Garimbo. Themba Garimbo was keeping good on this fight. I got this one right as well. Jonathan Milkef just looked a little bit better, well rounded. Was landing decent shots every now and then. Was doing good on the ground. Themba Garimbo was landing good on the feet. But that was about it. He wasn't really doing much else. This was a split decision. Because it was close, but Jonathan McAuliffe did win this fight. Just landed some harder shots. And was had more ground control time, had more ground game, and yeah. So I'm not upset with the decision, but it could have gone either way. But Jonathan McAuliffe did rightfully get the win. Yeah, Themba Grimbo, yet another loss. Um, yeah. Then we move up to Ben Johnston versus Wes Schultz. I got this one wrong. This fight was somewhat close, but this is probably one of the lowest IQ fights I've ever watched. Um, both of these guys were just not doing the right things at any of the right times. Nobody did anything really successful in this fight. Wes Schultz ended up getting a submission in the third round, but it kind of just fell into his lap and he ended up getting it. Um, Ben Johnston would have good moments and then not you do anything with them, and then Wes Schultz would just get pull onto bottom guard a bunch or like try and take down Ben Johnston and then get himself into a crucial moment where he's now on the bottom. Um, and yeah, Wes Schultz, like, he dropped Ben Johnson, I think, with a knee in, I think it might have been the third round or second round, but dropped him. And then, yeah, it was a rough fight to watch, but Wes Schultz gets it done. I got this one wrong, but honestly, neither of these guys were really good. So I think Wes Schultz loses his next fight to majority of competition. He had decent enough skill though to get a submission on Ben Johnston. Um, yeah, we're just gonna move on from that one really, really quick. Then we get Colby Thickness versus Vince Morales. Now, this fight was semi close. I mean, 57 total strikes to 56 total strikes. Vince Morales was landing some good shots. So was Colby Thickness, but where Colby Thickness really shined was on the ground. He had good scrambles, would get into good positions, would almost get a choke or an armbar. Had some really good triangle attempts, I believe, in like the third round, which was the swing round. And yeah, Colby Thickness, or was the deciding round, not the swing round. And Colby Thickness just outdid Vince Morales a little bit, but it was a close fight. Um, if Vince Morales did a couple more in certain moments, he probably would have won. But it goes to Colby Thickness, and yeah, it was an entertaining fight. Some pretty fun scrambles, some pretty decent shots landed. It wasn't anything out of this world, but it was a good fight. And yeah, Colby Thickness just he scrambled really well in this um fight, and he the I believe it was this fight. He had the triangle choke that was pretty tight in, with an armbar even. Maybe I'm thinking of something else later on down the line. No, I believe that one was the one. And yeah, fun fight for what it was, and yeah, I got another one correct. We then move up to Jacob Malkoun versus Gerald Meerschaert. Now, this fight was confusing for me, because I did pick Jacob Malkoun to win, but when I saw the odds on the Gerald Meerschaert one, I did bet that Gerald Meerschaert would get a third round submission, and it was close. So I was rooting for GM3 the entire time. Um, Making the first round, he won the first round. He ended up just kind of walking his way into a ground control the entire first round, over Jacob Malkoun. Uh, and then the second round, he kind of got touched up on the feet by Jacob Malkoun, was getting hit with some pretty hard shots. Third round, though, was close. It was a competitive fight. Um, Meerschaert was landing decent shots. Just when Malkoun would land, he would land a little bit harder. If Meerschaert was throwing his body kicks, he would probably have won this fight. If he would have thrown some body kicks in the third round. But he didn't throw nearly as many as he probably should have. And he wasn't really able to get Malkoun down to the ground. It was just kind of he would end up on the ground. But he had a guillotine like cinched in at the end of the third round with like 20 or 30 seconds left. Eventually Malkoun kind of squeezed out of it just a little bit, got enough air, and then survived the round. I was screaming, hoping that Meerschaert would get it done, but nope, he doesn't. Malkoun wins, puts on a pretty good performance, but close fight with GM3, who is kind of out of the game at this point. So Malkoun got a little bit of a watch on you right now just to see if you're actually decent or not. But yeah, Gerald Meerschaert almost gets it done. Jacob Malkoun ends up doing more. But as a minus 1100 favorite, um, he should not have. It should not have been that close, because I really think if Gerald Meerschaert landed 2 or 3 better shots, he would have won this fight. And yeah, that was it. Then we move up to Junior Tafa versus Kevin Christian. This fight, I picked Kevin Christian to win this fight and was severely wrong. Junior Tafa, he landed that shot. He was strong enough to. That was the worry of going into this fight. He landed the shot, dropped Kevin Christian, and put him down. Some ground and pound shots, fully put him out, and then it was over. Junior Tafa was getting his legs chewed up though by Kevin Christian, because Kevin Christian's so tall, 6'7", and has great kicks. Was leg kicking the crap out of Junior Tafa. That's not the only time I'll talk about leg kicks today. I was saving it especially for the main event. But Junior Tafa just, Kevin Christian couldn't get out of the way, react quick enough, and got clipped, got put down. Junior Tafa finishes him out, and yeah, wins in front of the Australian crowd. He's now 7-5, so woo, way better. But yeah, was completely wrong about this one. Kevin Christian just does not have the chin or the power to put out somebody like Junior Tafa, like I was kind of expecting him to cause a little bit more damage. Then we move up to Cam Rouston versus Robert Brzezczyk. This fight was kind of just domination from Cam Rouston. He won all of the rounds pretty clearly. Yeah, this one was just like a 30-27. Cam Rouston just beat on Brzezczyk, landed some great shots, was teeing up on Brzezczyk most of the fight. Brzezczyk would land a couple good shots, hurt Rouston like once, I think, but just was not long enough, rangy enough, not technical enough to beat Rouston and cause him any actual harm. And Cam Rouston wins. Puts on a pretty good performance, makes a great call out of Marvin Vettori. Had a whole thing prepared, and there's some interest in that because Cam Rouston's coming up in the division. Vettori's falling in the division. Vettori has that history with Adesanya. Rouston trains with Adesanya. So that would be a pretty fun fight. Interested to see that one. And it's a big name for Cam Rouston, who is a pretty good fighter. And so, yeah, Cam Rouston wins, calls out Marvin Vettori. I think that fight, you should just make it unless they have plans for Vettori and another fun fight. I think Rouston versus Vettori is a good matchup and can probably do it relatively soon because Rouston didn't really take much damage in this fight. So yeah, that's the entirety of this fight. And Rouston had some pretty good ground and pound in this match too, as well. He was not afraid to go to the ground and was landing good ground and pound. With how tall he is, he was able to clock back quite a few great shots. Then we move to the main card and Tai Tuivasa versus Louis Sutherland. Tai Tuivasa, wrap it up. If he's not cut from the UFC, he needs to retire. Or honestly, UFC, let him fight 2 more times. Let's let him lose 2 more times. Let's do that one. Let's let him lose so that we can get him past Tony's 8-fight losing streak. He's currently on his 7-fight losing streak. Let's tie that. Then let's get to 9 for Tuivasa. End it there. But yeah, that was truly an awful fight. Performance from both. Louis Sutherland kind of just smothered Tuivasa on the ground. Tuivasa was doing good the first round, but the second Sutherland learned, oh, I can just take this guy down and he's not able to get up. He just did that each round. Would land couple shots on the ground, and yeah, Tuivasa. I think honestly, he might even have gotten a point potentially deducted in the third round because Tuivasa got back up. They got stood up by the ref because Sutherland just wouldn't do much. And Tuivasa, while on the back of Louis Sutherland, breaks away from it and then fully like throws his entire body into a knee onto the head of Louis Sutherland, misses the knee, but partially lands it, falls over the top, and then Sutherland just crawls on top of Tuivasa to end out the round. Um, and I heard something about they might have taken a point from him, which kind of crazy. But Tai Tuivasa loses a 7th fight in a row to Louis Sutherland. Really wrap it up. Taliesin Teixeira, we're looking at you. You went 3 hard rounds with Tai Tuivasa. What? Just call it a day. Let's end it here. Half this heavyweight division. Louis Sutherland, let's call it a day. Tai Tuivasa, let's call it a day. I mean, wow. I thought this was a Tai Tuivasa, short notice, Louis Sutherland, who's not good. Let's knock him out quick and then retire in Perth, but just doesn't go that way, and Louis Sutherland gets the dub. I got another wrong pick. And yeah, we move up to Shamil Pookie Bear Gaziev versus Brando Pericic. This was given fight of the night, and honestly, for the 2 rounds that it went, I would agree this is fight of the night. This was a really fun fight. While it lasted, these two were just kind of slinging it. The first round had some different moments where they were holding up against the cage. Shamil was holding up against the cage. I think they actually got separated a couple times in the first and second round because Shamil would hold up. But Brando would land really good. He had really fast hand speed, would land some good shots. And then Shamil would just throw something, land at 2, hurt Brando, and they just hurt each other back and forth for like the second half of the first round and all of the second round that it lasted. They would just hit each other, hurt each other. The other one would then, while stumbling back, throw something, hurt the other. Very good fight. Heavyweight, looking real fun. I mean, it's crazy you can go from Sutherland to Tuivasa to Shamil Gaziev, Brando Pericic, and have 2 completely different entertainment levels. But Pericic lands a great combo, and I think it ended with a uppercut. Was it this one that ended with an uppercut? Or a hook, something. Maybe it was a hook straight. But then just Shamil just flops back over. The blob goes down, and Brando Pericic wins by knockout. First time he's had to go past the first round. And yeah, Shamil Gaziev gets knocked out. Was a fun fight, though. Very, very fun. Got fight of the night, deservingly. And yeah, 100 strikes to 51. Very good for Brando Pericic. Wins in Australia, in his home. Australians did pretty good overall on this, somewhat good on this card, in certain points, but also did pretty bad in certain points. So yeah, Brando Pericic beats Shamil Gaziev by second round knockout. He's going to be in the rankings now. We'll see who they match him up with next, but there are some pretty good matchups. Wow. Then we move up to Marwan Rahiki versus Ali Schmid. Very good performance from Marwan Rahiki. Not really much to say. Ali Schmid didn't do much in this fight. Oh, wow. Didn't really do much in this fight. Just kind of got touched a little bit. Here or there, Rahiki would throw some spinning stuff, miss it every now and then, but was getting into his rhythm. Eventually then did start landing pretty good and pretty frequently on Ali Schmid. And then hit him with, it was a shovel uppercut in this. And it dropped Ali Schmid down bad. Rahiki adds a couple shots to finish it, and it's over. First round, does what he's supposed to do. Really good performance from Marwan Rahiki. He was expected to do this, though. Ali Schmid is not the greatest fighter. And yeah, just puts him out, dispatches of him in the first round. It was a late notice step in of a 4-2 guy, so it's not that great of a feat, but he did look good doing it and landed a pretty nice shovel uppercut for his troubles. So good job to Marwan Rahiki, and we move up to the feature fight and one of the three hometown boys that wins his fight, and it is Steve Urseg beating Tim Elliott. I got this one wrong. I thought Tim Elliott was going to kind of crafty his way through it. But he did make it competitive. He did win the first round. Then the second round was Steve Urseg getting kind of the rhythm of Tim Elliott down a little bit more. Tim Elliott's not landing as good of shots. And then Steve Urseg clearly dominantly wins the third round, was kind of teeing off on Tim Elliott, landing shots at will, looking really good, and yeah, just did great in the third round. Would land straights pretty much at will. Tim Elliott just didn't have the power to really get Steve Urseg's respect in this fight, and then couldn't keep Steve Urseg down during the takedowns, which was a huge thing Tim Elliott needed to do. The ground game, I think, was some of his most important aspects of this fight, and he didn't get any. He didn't get any time to actually be on the ground with Steve Urseg. So Steve Urseg gets a good win. Beats Tim Elliott, but it was still competitive, which is crazy for Tim Elliott for how long he's been in the UFC against one of the guys who recently fought for the title. Within the past 3 years, fought for a world title. So, yeah, good job, Tim Elliott, but not enough. Good job, Steve Urseg. You're back in the win column against them. I think at this point now it's your first ranked win other than Matt Schnell. I don't think Ode was in the rankings, but yeah, great job, Steve Urseg. Started looking really good and crisp towards the end of that fight, and got over the awkwardness of a Tim Elliott, which is very important. Then we have the co-main event of the evening: Beneil Dariush versus Quillan Selkild. Performance of the night bonus going to Quillan Selkild for this fight. First round knockout. We expected it, but we did not expect it like this. That's what we gotta say. Quillan Selkild goes out. We're kind of expecting some damage early, but Quillan Selkild gets dropped with a jab by Beneil Dariush. He was a little off balance because he had recently thrown a head kick and kind of was moving weirdly. So he did kind of get dropped off balance, but he still got put down by Beneil Dariush's jab. Then Beneil tries body locks him, is holding him up against the fence, trying to take him down. And for literally that knockdown probably happened within the first 40 seconds, then until like they broke. So like they had 15 seconds at the end for the final finishing sequence. They were literally trying to defend a takedown and get a takedown the entire time. Quillan Selkild was defending against Beneil's takedown, getting down, then getting back up, then getting down. Says he shot 5 takedowns and only got 2 of them. Quillan kept getting right up and did really good at defending the grappling of Beneil, which was the most important thing for Beneil because that is his strongest suit. But then the second that Quillan could actually get some space, he goes out, he starts swinging, landing good combinations, causing some chaos on Beneil, overcrowds him, lands some good shots, drops Beneil bad going backwards, and then on the ground, throws some shots behind around the back of Beneil to the face, and you literally see Beneil after one drop, and then a second one hits, and he drops even further, and Quillan Selkild puts out Beneil Dariush. Way scarier than it needed to be, but he does it. He gets into the top 15. And yeah, I think a Dan Hooker fight could make sense for a Quillan Selkild. But we'd have to see, and with them both being Australians, I don't know if they maybe train in similar areas or have been in similar circles, but yeah, Quillan Selkild, great job, gets the win over Beneil Dariush, shows some resiliency, and knocks out Beneil Dariush. Crazy that Benoit Saint-Denis powerful enough and landed that shot in 16 seconds, but Quillan lands it in the first round as well. So, yeah, great job, Quillan Selkild. First round knockout added to the reel. Then we move up to the main event of the evening. Performance award going to Carlos Prates. Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates as our main event of the evening. This was kind of all I expected it to be. Um, this was a really fun striking matchup. JDM mixed in some grappling throughout, but it wasn't all too successful. And Prates got into his flow, and it got dangerous for JDM. JDM, it was getting close in the first round. Prates won it, I think. Prates won the first round, I think, but it was close, and JDM was landing good body shots. Would land a couple little shots here and there. Got a takedown at the end of the first round that was telling. It was like with 30 seconds left. And then we go into the second round, and Prates is putting it on him. You can see as the fight goes on, when he gets momentum, you're in trouble. In the first round, he would land some good shots, blitz in, and push JDM back, and then you saw the switch flip of, I've got momentum, now I'm just going to tee off. The second he'd be on the back foot, it'd slow down. Going into the second round, he kept on the front foot, was landing those knees up the middle, great. Elbows every now and then, but great 1-2s. Not too many hooks were really thrown, because he knew, I don't got to throw around the guard. I can throw through the middle of the guard. That is my best chance. Would land to the body every now and then, but what was really working in the first and second round was leg kicks. Leg kicks started real early, and Prates was landing them hard. You could see that JDM was stepping on it weird and was trying to stay more in orthodox than he normally does. Yes, he switches a lot, but he was staying in orthodox more than he typically would. And Prates just kept landing low kicks, landing great body shots, and landing to the head so furiously. It was amazing shots from Carlos Prates. I mean, the second round, he was picking apart JDM, which it's crazy to say that, because JDM is one fight removed from being the world champion, who put on a striking masterclass against Bilal Muhammad, and is a great, fantastic boxer striker. I mean, Carlos Prates put on a clinic on the feet against Jack Della Maddalena. Then at the end of the second round, Prates lands some great shots. You could see JDM's kind of stumbling away from it a little bit. Prates slams a low kick, and JDM falls to the ground, wincing, like noticeably in visible, awful pain. Bell rings. JDM's a little slow to get back up, but gets up, goes, sits down, and then coming out for the third round, Prates is on JDM the entire time, teeing off, landing the straight shots, throwing. He threw like 8 knees in that third round, would dive in with knees against the cage in like almost the Anderson Silva way of just throwing them straight, and when JDM's head couldn't really move, boom, right against the fence. People were saying this seemed like the most like a modern Anderson Silva with what Prates was doing. I kind of agree. He was outstriking, using his length, using his reach, and was just putting on a masterclass. JDM would like overhand throw something. Prates was out of the way. Got clipped a couple times in the first round. He got clipped with some uppercuts that hurt him. But JDM wasn't even really able to do the grappling as much anymore, because Prates would stuff it in the second and third round, or the second round, I think it was. JDM had his back for a little bit, but Prates shucked him off. But yeah, staying with the third round, landing great shots, landing the great knees, and landing. Oh, that was the wrong one for the Quillen fight. I forgot to put up. Landing this elbow and other elbows like it. He was throwing that like tomahawk elbow, and then he would use that, and then he set it up as a jab elbow, where he would just press it into you instead of throwing it overhand at you. And this elbow landed great. There were some other great shots that's like, how is JDM not going down? JDM has a chin of a god, honestly. He did not go down from much. He got stumbled, he got wobbled, he got almost put down, he got dropped a couple times in that third round, to the point where the commentary was even saying like, ooh, this is kind of sad. Like, this is like, we don't even really see this anymore, because it was just kind of Prates beating up on JDM, putting him down to the ground, then letting him back up, putting him back down to the ground. And what finishes the fight is, after putting down JDM like 2 or 3 times in a row, then he's landing some good shots, landing some good knees, lands this elbow, lands another elbow that's like a normal one. Then they're breaking up, and Prates slams a low kick, JDM winces and noticeably groans, goes to the ground, puts his hands behind his head and his feet up. The refs, Prates had been previously like kind of stepping back, letting JDM up. Well, this time he took like one step back and then fully stepped in with a leg kick to the leg that was injured and swung it on him, and then gets on top of him and elbows to the top, just elbows him, elbow, 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 and finishes Jack Della Maddalena in the third round for the first time ever in JDM's career. He gets knocked out. First time in the UFC getting finished. And I mean, Carlos Prates, man, you can't deny it. He's 3 fights in a row knocked out people that have never been knocked out. And before the Ian Gary one, he had knocked out Jing Liang, who had never been knocked out. This is 2 world champions in a row, Leon Edwards and Jack Della Maddalena, who is very good. Is only a fight removed from fighting for the world title. Um, and yeah, Prates just put him out. He finished the guy that Islam Makhachev didn't finish. I mean, that there's different context to it than that, but that is what happened. He calls for the winner of Ian Gary versus Islam Makhachev, which I could see happening. Maybe they make him wait and do another fight between them, or they just hold him off and say, hey, nope, you can get the winner. But honestly, because I think it's going to be Makhachev Gary in Philadelphia in August, my guess, Ian Gary Islam Makhachev happens. If Ilia Topuria wins at the White House, then Ilia Topuria can get the winner of as if it's Makhachev if he wants. I think that's what's going to be the plan. If Islam wins. So let's say Ilya wins and Islam wins, then it's going to be Ilya Islam. If Ilya wins and Ian Gary wins, then I think it's going to be Prates versus Ian Gary 2 for the world title. If Ilya loses and Islam wins, then I think, honestly, it might be Prates versus Islam, or they'll do Prates. If Ilya loses at the White House, Prates will have to fight like Michael Morales to earn a number one spot again, to just figure out the true number one contender. But yeah, I mean, Prates put on a masterclass, a violent masterclass over Jack Della Maddalena, and beats him in the third round. I think that's what I said in my video was a third round knockout. I wanted a decision, but JDM gets knocked out. I mean, just absolutely expertly done by Carlos Prates. Number one ranked now, will be at least. There's not much really else to say other than it was a fun fight and he put on a masterclass, which is it is crazy to say that somebody put on a striking masterclass on Jack Della Maddalena. JDM's a great striker and got beaten up by Carlos Prates. It says JDM landed 53 strikes, a lot of them to the body, and a lot of them were kind of glancing shots, some jabs that were working pretty good. Prates, though, would land and you would feel it, you would see it, it hurt. This was probably the best Prates has ever looked, and you could tell he had more confidence than he did in the Ian Gary fight because he knew he could go 5 rounds, so he was able to actually throw. Now that he knows he has 5-round gas, he's going to throw and he's going to use his power way more. So, yeah. And if he gets better at the grappling defense, he could be a problem for anybody in this division. He could be a problem for an Islam or an Ian Gary again. If he works on his takedown defense. That's the only thing, is that Islam Makhachev would probably take him down and submit him in a round or two. Prates, though, would, I think, kill Islam standing up if they were just having to stand up. So, yeah. Jack Della Maddalena loses by knockout for the first time to Carlos Prates. JDM, he's going to have great other fights. It sucks to see him lose, but he's going to have other great fights. He can fight. He kind of jumped straight up to Bilal when he probably shouldn't have. I'm looking forward to some other different fights, some different fun fights for JDM in the welterweight rankings. So, yeah, we just got to see with JDM. Carlos Prates moving up, going to say apparently he's going to be ringside for Makhachev Gary, so apparently that he might know is already happening or just knows the rumors about it, but he wants to be cage side to step in to face off against the winner. But if Ilia Topuria beats Justin Gaethje and Islam Makhachev wins that fight, it's Ilia versus Islam all day. So, yeah, thank you for watching. This was the entirety of UFC Perth. I went 9 to 4. So 9 for what is that? For 12? 9 for 12 or 13? 9 for 13 is what he went. I went on this card. One of my best ones in a while, and yeah, PRATES, man, put on a masterclass. And yeah, thank you for watching. Uh, we're doing this so early, but I might do another video for tomorrow just to do like maybe a matching up the welterweight division or matching up other divisions or talking about something, ranking something, tier list something. I don't know. I gotta figure it out. But yeah, have a good day. Let me know what you thought of these fights, what you think should happen out in the UFC welterweight division, and yeah, have a good one and bye.